Well, moving on, I would now like to call upon our next speaker for the day, Mr. Suren Ramasubbu, Director, Academica International Studies. We are honored to welcome Suren Ramasubbu as a speaker at our summit. As a serial entrepreneur and founding director of the AICSE Council, Suren is driving educational innovation through Academica Virtual Education Incorporation, which operates over 200 schools in the US. Under his leadership, Academica International Studies offers a dual diploma program allowing over 50,000 students in 28 countries, including India, to pursue an American high school diploma alongside their local curriculum. This program enables CBSE, ICSE, and state board schools to provide international education without extra infrastructure. Suren is focused on expanding Academica's reach in India and building partnerships with top schools. With a huge round of applause, let us welcome on stage Mr. Suren Ramasubbu.
Good morning, everyone. It's a difficult task to follow Dr. Saini. What an amazing presentation. That movie at the end made me cry. Thank you so much for doing that. My name is Suren Ramasubbu. I'm the director of Academica International Studies. Just a little bit about me. I did my engineering in India. Then I went abroad, like we all do. I went to the US for my master's. I did a master's in computer engineering. I went into the tech industry. I worked in Hewlett-Packard, designing RFIC chips and all that, and got bored of it after a while. Went to business school. I did my MBA at UCLA and met a bunch of entrepreneurs, including Elon Musk himself. Got inspired and launched a tech startup. That kind of grew and after a few years got acquired by Academica. So when I finished my master's, I wanted to continue to my PhD, and I went to Virginia Tech for my master's, and it's a cold place. There's a lot of snow in winter. So my wife was, no, we're not going to live here. We're going to go to California. So she dragged me to California, and that's how I got into the tech industry. But my heart was always in education. And like as they say, when you want something too much, the universe conspires to make it happen. So I kind of landed in education at the end of the day. So that's my story briefly. I represent Academica. Academica is a chain of schools in the US. So we are probably the only American school at the Maharashtra Educator Summit. Right? What is an American school doing here? Academica runs 200 schools across various states in the United States. Academica runs both public and private schools. So if you've heard of charter schools, it's a movement in the US where students study in a privately run school that is funded by the government. It's something like a government-aided school in India. So Academica specializes in running charter schools, which are almost like private schools. And as part of offering this program, or as part of running private schools, Academica also runs a virtual school called Academica International Studies. Academica Virtual Education was launched as an option as a private school in the US for students who want to study virtually, and with a goal towards bringing equity in education. Right? About 2010 or so, Academica started offering this program outside the United States, and they did this by doing something very unique that you will not find anywhere. It's a dual diploma program. Academica validates the curriculum that the student is currently in. The student could be in CBSE, ICSE, even state board, or IGCSE, or IB, any curriculum that they're currently enrolled in. Academica would take a certain number of courses from that, add on the courses that are required for an American high school diploma, and issue what we call a dual diploma to the student, right? And the dual diploma program was started in 2010 in Spain with about 10 students. 15 years later, we have about 50,000 students enrolled from 31 countries, primarily in Europe and South America. I live in the US now, but about 8 years ago, I moved back to India. My children grew up in the US, and when we moved back, I really struggled to find a good program for my children. My kids were born and raised in the US, and when they came back, I wanted them to benefit from one of the Indian, one of the curriculum that's offered here, either CBSE or ICSE, but I also wanted them to have one foot in the American system. I couldn't find an option like that. We had either European curriculums like Cambridge or IB, or we had the Indian curriculum, and the only choice was to put them in either one, right? And that's when, because I was part of Academica as an organization, I asked them, if you're offering this program in various other countries, why don't you offer it in India? Coincidentally, at the same time, Academica won the presidential award from Joe Biden himself, and the US consulate in India got involved. So just like the British Council promotes the Cambridge curriculum, the US consulate and the trade mission invited us to come to India and promote the program in India. So we've been promoting this over the last 2 years. We partnered with about 10 schools now. About 60, 70 students are already going through the program. The first cohort will graduate next year. So what is special about this dual diploma program? The program has 3 particular objectives. The first objective is language immersion, right? There's a very strong emphasis on English, and there is a reason for that. Students in India tend to be very good at STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, but we tend to be weak in expressing ourselves, in critical thinking, in public speaking, and a lot of the life skills that you need to be successful in your life and your career, right? So our focus is a lot on English. It's all delivered virtually through technology, so there's an emphasis on technological immersion, and this program requires students to manage their time very efficiently. So they learn time management skills at the same time as they go through the curriculum. So what is achieved? At the end of the day, the student earns 2 different diplomas. In the US, higher secondary, what we call a higher secondary certificate here is called a diploma, just like the IB diploma. It's called an American high school diploma. So a student would earn, let's say, a CBSE senior secondary certificate and simultaneously earn an accredited official American high school diploma. This is a sample of the diploma that a student would earn. This is exactly the same diploma that students in the United States earn when they finish their high school. So the students are able to expand their knowledge and expand their capacity, interact with students, 50,000 students around the world, become part of a huge network, huge community. Now, to graduate with an American high school diploma, if you live in the United States, you need to complete 24 credits, right? But how are we able to have a student go through 2 different curriculums at the same time and complete, the regular, let's say, CBSE, and also complete another board, right? Instead of forcing that, what Academica does is we take 18 of the credits that the student is already doing, so there's no duplication. Most of the major credits like mathematics, science, are taken from the local curriculum, and only 6 required courses have to be done with us. And 2 out of the 6 required courses are English. We offer 5 levels of English, so depending on how the student performs in the admissions test, they would be placed at an appropriate level of English. So they would do 2, let's say they're placed in English 3, then they do English 3 and English 4. That's 2 years of English. 1 year of US history, 1 year of US government and economics, and one of the electives that you see on the right, right? One of those electives is also college prep, which is SAT, ACT test prep, which students who plan to go abroad take anyway, or then they go to tuition or training centers to get that. That's part of the curriculum. They can complete it as part of the elective course, and they can choose from any of the other courses. And you can see public speaking and journalism is part of it. Introduction to engineering and technology is part of it. So you can see that there's a lot of emphasis on the American culture, the American way of speaking. In the English course, the emphasis is not on grammar and things like that. It's a very experiential kind of learning. So the students do a lot of public speaking. They create videos, they create content, they interact with students around the world, and every course is structured like that. And the students also get familiar with the American system of grading. They learn from a US teacher through mandatory live sessions. I'll talk about that in a little bit. So this is intended for students who are already in 8, 9, or 10 in India. So the course can be done over 3 years, it can be done over 2 years, or it can be done over a 4-year period. Ideally, we would want to start after 8th. So our calendar runs complementary to the Indian calendar. It runs between April and November. So a student between 8 and 9 can complete one semester over the summer, and the other semester will overlay with when school starts here. But by November, they're done with our courses, and they can focus on their regular curriculum and focus on their final exams and things like that. They can also do it over a 3-year period. If a student starts in 9th, a student starts in 10, they'll have to do it over 2 years. It's still the same, 6 courses that they have to do, the same English, US history, US government, and the electives, but they'll have to do it within a 2-year period. So it is a very challenging program. It is for students who are ambitious, who want to do more, not only if they want to study in the US right after 12th, but also if they want to go abroad anytime in their future, which is most of the students today, right? They end up going abroad at some point in their life, whether it is to study or for work. So the program is completely virtual and it's online. There are facilities that allow the student and the teacher to interact. The teachers, they're required to meet with their teachers in mandatory live sessions. The sessions can be scheduled at the student's convenience. Our teachers are located in the state of Florida, which has a very nice time overlap with India. So around 3 or 4 p.m. is 8 a.m. there. So the teacher is able to find time, and the students are also able to find time for these mandatory live sessions. About 6 sessions are required in a month. The rest of the work can be done asynchronously at the student's own convenience. They can work over evenings or weekends. Typically, a common question that comes up from parents is, how much additional workload does this place on the student? And the student is already doing, let's say, CBSE and also preparing for JEE and doing a lot in sports and other things. So on average, we expect this to add about an hour a day. So it's a very manageable program for students who are already in an advanced standing in their class or in their school. So if all the school needs to do is provide one teacher to coordinate with our teachers back in the US. So we call that teacher the program director. The role of the program director is to coordinate with the student and to coordinate with the parent if an intervention is necessary. Otherwise, there's no investment or infrastructure required on the part of the school. The student must complete 24 required credits to graduate from a program. So they'll have to complete the 6 courses with us and also complete the requirements of their higher secondary program in the local school in order to graduate. So the GPA, we take the scores that they get from your system. We take your mark sheets and we normalize it already. So the student earns a mark sheet or a transcript from us. So when they apply to a university abroad, the university does not have to take their percentage score and normalize it. It's already converted into an American system, and the university accepts it as is. Now, we talked about all the benefits to students and how it can help them. What does this do for a school? A school can instantly, without any additional infrastructure, without hiring any teachers, without building any new classrooms or anything like that, purchasing any equipment, the school can overnight become an international school by entering into an agreement with Academica. You can offer a dual baccalaureate program, you offer a dual diploma, an international diploma, without any additional investment, right? And you become an American high school, we become an Academica's authorized American high school center, and it becomes a completely virtual educational experience for the student. This program is also accredited by Cognia, which is an international accrediting agency, and because of the accreditation, it's also accepted by the Association of Indian Universities. So the program is also accredited in India. All these advantages come to the school with no additional investment. So a school that wants to offer this as an option, regardless of the curriculum that you currently offer, this is a great option for the school to expand its offerings to its students, to remain competitive in a world where international education is becoming the norm. Also, in terms of our mission as an organization, is to bring equity in education and offer international education to any student around the world, right? And we are able to deliver through this program. In addition to the curriculum itself, there are over 200 clubs that are available for students to participate in and connect with students around the world. There are students in France, Spain, Italy, in South America. So there's a huge cohort of students that they can connect to, and they can get that exposure during their school years. So I would highly recommend that you stop by our booth outside and learn more about the program. If your school is interested, please let us know. We are happy to stop by and present this program to your management and take it forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Suren. I would now request Mr. Anil Sharma to please join us on stage and felicitate Mr. Suren Ramasubbu, Director, Academica International Studies. Let's have a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for Mr. Suren Ramasubbu, Director, Academica International Studies. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, Mr. Anil. Next up, our next speaker for the day